start again.
Okay. Hello, Joseph. Thanks for asking. I was born in Hamilton, Ontario in 1954. I'm going to have my 56th birthday on February 28, 2010. I grew up in Hamilton and I attended university at McMaster in Hamilton and completed my university at the University of Windsor, taking political science and communication studies. I then went to Ryerson and took courses in journalism, subsequent to that in Toronto. I was married in 1984, and at the same time I had Laura, my first daughter, in 1985. And we were happy, and with my involvement in politics from prior, we got interested when in Richmond Hill we had bought a house from plans, and the neighborhood, some things were going on that we didn't like with the planning process. And I started to attend meetings even though we hadn't moved there yet, and found that I was unhappy with the way we were being represented. So I said at one point, gee, I could do a better job than that. My wife said, well, then why don't you? And in 1988, I ran for council. And I knocked at everybody's door, and even though I was a newbie in town, I managed to get elected Ward 3 councillor in 1988. And that was my first time in politics. I, with Frank Endine, who was then a new regional councillor, we caused tremendous change. We challenged what was being done in the town. And remember, the town back then had 50,000 people, unlike now. I was a civil servant at the time, working for the federal government, and in fact, once I became a councillor, for a while I became a very part-time federal employee, and I retired in 2009 after 25 years working for the federal government. In saying that, as a councillor in our first term, we caused a lot of change. We got our financial systems in the town reorganized. We got several of the processes in place, changed from a town that had 20,000 when everything was designed to a town that now has almost 190,000, and even back then was over 60,000 and was busting at the seams. So that in 1991, the town moved from many offices to the office everybody knows at 225 East Beaver Creek, which was, of course, in Ward 3. My ward. And I've continued to work on many things within the town. And unfortunately, my life turned a sad note in 1993. My wife Laura, my wife Shirley found that she had advanced breast cancer, and she passed away in 1995. And so I was a single parent, and you may know that my daughter Laura suffers from autism and is a special needs kid, and I've always been involved in things to do with helping people with developmental disabilities. Getting back to council, I won a re-election in 1994 while my wife was in the hospital. I had wonderful supporters who did most of the work, because I spent most of my time actually during that election in 1994 in Sunnybrook Hospital, where my wife was. In 1997, I ran again and was acclaimed, which means that nobody ran against me. And I proceeded to start to look for new challenges. I had, well being a councillor, built and continued to build the Bayview Hill Community Center, so it expanded to include a pool, a fitness center separately, even a sauna separately at that point in time. And as a parent, my daughter was attending a school class that was operated by Thistletown Regional Center. I led a group of parents, and we fought with Premier Bob Ray back in 1995, and in point of fact, we kept Thistletown open because the province was closing it down with no alternative services, only future promise that maybe those services would be in play. I'm happy to report that I saw some people from back then just recently, and they were thanking me so much that in point of fact that all their services have still not been duplicated, that only some of the services have been duplicated in 2010, and that was one of the great successes that I've had in my life, helping with that. In 1997 I helped start the Richmond Hill Chinese Seniors Association with Anita Ma. And you may have been to one of their events. I'm sure you have, Joseph, over the years. And dealing with seniors, I extended that in 2004 when I created the Bayview Hill Seniors Program, and I got two very good partners to come in with the town to build that for day programs for seniors, and that is Care First and CICS, or the Center for Information and Services. And every day there are programs going on all day at the Bayview Hill Community Center for them. The partnership's original, and we have over 1,000 people, mostly Cantonese, who are participating in that seniors organization. I also, at about the same time, helped start the York Indian Seniors Association to help a group of Indian Canadians have day programs. They haven't grown as large as the Bayview Hill Seniors Program, but they're flourishing and doing very well. And I'm proud of my involvement in trying to help and create meaningful activity for seniors. In 2001, I went to China on behalf of the town of Richmond Hill on a business program, and in 2005 I went back to China with York Region again to try and drum up business for York Region for the Chinese community. And in 2007 I went to Pakistan on behalf of the town again to try and create that. I also believe it's important that we be friendly with our communities. As a councillor, I've sat on the organizing committee that built our main central library. It's the only central library really that any of the communities in York Region have. Everyone else simply have small regional ones, and we get people actually from around York Region all coming to our central library. I was on the committee that designed the new Richmond Hill Center for Performing Arts, and you can see my name was there. I've been involved with virtually every committee that the town's had over the years. I was budget chair from 1992 to 2003, and during that period of time, if you'd paid a certain dollar amount of taxes in 2002, in 1992, your taxes would have remained virtually the same, because for 10 years I either froze the taxes or had them minor decreases in taxes during that 10-year period, which is something we can't say we're doing right now in Richmond Hill. I believe that we need to spend our money wisely, and that we need to pay attention to the fact that there's people out there who are paying the bill for it. We need to as well provide good quality services, and I appreciate the fact that recently Richmond Hill was named one of the top 6 places to move to for new immigrants in Canada, and I believe that I've created a part in that. In 2006, after the election, in discussing with the mayor of Richmond Hill, Dave Barrow, how could we better show that we're welcome to new communities, because as anyone watching would know, I'm quite involved with the new communities. I said, why don't we have events that welcome the people in? And the mayor started his the mayor's Chinese New Year celebration, the mayor's Norwoo's celebration, and many other celebrations that the mayor has been doing. I feel I have a good assist in creating those, and you see me as the god of fortune. I can say frankly that I've been working for many years on as a board member of RENA. RENA provides services for people with developmental disabilities, and there's over 100 Chinese people that we provide daily or weekly service to. I've been involved with both Under the Banyan Tree, who have a day program, and I'm their honorary advisor, and Spirit of Life, who provide information and counseling in relation to the same thing, and I'm their honorary advisor. I've tried to create a Chinese RENA, but I've been unable to find the right group of people who can provide the financing and stimulus to get it going, because it requires a lot of work. The people on those other groups are so busy doing the wonderful things that they can that they haven't had time. I've been an advisor on a couple occasions to Care First on projects in Richmond Hill. I've been involved with Mosaic Out of the Cold. Mosaic provides food and shelter for the homeless in the winter in South York region. I've been involved with Hospice Richmond Hill, which provides help for people who are critically ill. I've been involved with raising money for Red Cross and Heart and Stroke, and doing other things in that nature. I do believe that as a Richmond Hill resident and as a councillor, it's necessary for me to put as much time as I can into getting to know people. I'm involved on several school councils, on several business associations, and in each case I'm hoping people will tell me what they need and what they feel and how they feel about Richmond Hill and how we could make things do better. And if you see me at the event, many events and functions I go to, often I meet someone at that event and they tell me about what they have and what they want, and the next day I meet somebody who is the perfect match, and I get those people together. So I feel that that's a part of what I do. I am a representative on Richmond Hill Council and help people with all sorts of issues that the town offers. In the future, I'm just announced that I'm running for regional council, and that means that I'll sit on the York Region Council. York Region deals with policing, with social services, with buses, with the main roads like Bayview and Bathurst and Yonge Street, 16th Avenue, Major Mackenzie. They deal with master planning for the community, mass transportation. They deal with many issues that I believe that I can provide benefit with my 22 years of experience for, and I believe that I can provide that voice because I've been out in the community of all of you in the community, because I'm out among the people and get to hear the people. Many of my colleagues aren't necessarily as visible on when they're not in the office as I may be, and may not hear what you have to say. And I'm here for you and available. And I was just showing Joseph, was asking me about my BlackBerry, but the phone's there and the emails are there, and I'm always trying to help people at any hour of the day and what have you. I'm now married to Grace. I got married in 2005. We have two children from Grace's, from before, Silken and Elliot. They're both teenagers. And often if you don't see Grace out with me, she's usually being the most wonderful wife and mother and taking care of our children. And we have a happy family, and I have the full support of my family and my being a politician, and it's quite appreciated.
So you've been for councillor for 22 years. Can you tell us about what's the daily routine for the councillors in Richmond?
I have an unusual job in that it's very active for up to 16 hours in the day, and no 2 days are exactly the like. Often people want to meet with me and they're setting up appointments, and so I may have an appointment or meeting as early as 7:30 in the morning, or an event to go to at 7:30 in the morning. I'll have meetings in the office at some point during the day, but also meetings with people during the day, or be on committees, and those committees are meeting at various times. I also have to meet with my town staff over problems that residents have, and that takes place during the day. And example, right now we have I'm on the official plan task force. It meets during the day. I'm on several committees. I chair a committee dealing with fixing up the Works Department building. Many things we have that are met during the day, and we deal with the problems during the day. The public, though, are working during the day. So although I meet with the public on occasion during the day, I also have to meet with them at times that are available to them. So from 4:30 on, I'm extremely busy. A lot of our meetings at council start at 4:30, but I also have meetings with residents going from 4:30 on. And these committees that I sit on, whether it's the school board committees, whether it's the Richmond Hill Markham Chinese Business Association, whether it's the Mosaic out of the Colt, they're all after hour from the general public. So most nights I'm out doing that, and then the rest of the time the community, I find that the community's out meeting in other ways, and I'm involved with many of the charities, and you see me at many functions. So on my version of a typical day, which might be today, which is Monday, I was here this morning for a meeting at 9 o'clock. I'm with you right now. I have to go out to meet somebody, a businessman, at his office. Then I have a lunch meeting. At 3 o'clock, I have a lady coming in the office to see me. At 4:30, we have our committee of the whole. If I can, I'd like to leave the committee of the whole at 7, because I have a school council meeting at 7:15. Subsequent to the school council meeting at 7:15, York Rotary, which is a Rotary that I sit on, and I was actually I was on Richmond Hill Rotary just 2 years ago as Rotarian of the Year, but which I'm very active. Rotary does great things for people, and people should get involved with service groups. Anyways, and then I'll end up with them. The likelihood is that I'll get home close to 11 o'clock tonight, and that's Monday. So that's not an uncommon day for me. The unusual days are more on the weekends, because I'm trying to fit in both the family and the community. And because my daughter Laura is special needs, I always spend one day with her. I'll pick her up about 11, and I'll drop her off 5 or 6. When she was younger, she was easier, being autistic, to take to functions. Now that she's older, she's not necessarily as happy with that, so you see me with her sometimes, sometimes not. At the same time, there's numerous community events going on, and I try to make whatever arrangements to go to those events, whether it's in all the communities, because I believe that as I'm representing everyone.
You spend more than 1/3 of your time in town of Richmond Hill. Can you describe your relationship between you and the town?
Well, I love the town of Richmond Hill. Town of Richmond Hill is the center of York Region, and is really the center of everything, with the highways interconnecting. I've believed that what you see as Richmond Hill has David Cohen in it. I've been councillor for 22 years. When I started on council, as they say, it had about 50,000 people, and now it has almost 200, or it's grown 400% of the time, and I've been involved in the planning process. I've watched as the things have grown, and it's like my child. when you've been doing it this long, you care for it. You feel everything wonderful for it. And I must tell you that I love working in Richmond Hill and the people of Richmond Hill. And that's why you see me out so much, because I really love what I do. I'm lucky. I'm a lucky man. I do a job that I really like doing. And I like being out with you if you're out with me in the community. I like being with people in the community, and that's what I was saying, like not everybody in my line of work enjoys being out with the public, or will eat any kind of food, or at least try it and see what it's like, or participate. To me, it's all just an adventure. My father taught me that you should spend each day, you wake up in the morning, if you're in a good mood, you're in a good mood. You're not, you're not. But you should live one day at a time and enjoy each day one at a time. And I truly believe I live one day at a time, and I have a very busy, involved schedule. And the reason I do is because I do that one day at a time, so I can appreciate where I am and what I'm about. And then the next day comes and I'll deal with that. But the biggest problem I have is not being home as much as I should at supper time with my family, because I'm out with people in the community.
So do you think that you're really attached to this land? Because you live here, work here, you like here, but when we retire, you still live here?
Well, I've lived in Richmond Hill now for about 25 years, and I've spent most of my time trying to make Richmond Hill a good place to live. And I really care for Richmond Hill and its citizens. I actually have no desire to move anywhere else. When I got remarried, my family were nice enough to move to Richmond Hill to be with me, and I've always lived actually within the ward. Running for regional council, I run town-wide, and so I could live anywhere in Richmond Hill, but I'm staying where I am in Bayview Hill.
Can you describe your relationship with the fellow councillors and mayor during your service?
I have a good relationship with most of the people on Richmond Hill Council. Politics is always a business where you have disagreement, otherwise you wouldn't need a bunch of us. Some people say that it's light out and someone else says it's dark out, or we all have our own opinions on various things. I believe that Richmond Hill Council is a very good council. Our reputation is good. We're not, it's not scandal-ridden, so I believe that I get along very well with my colleagues.
You mentioned that there got more people now than 20 years ago, right? And then from like 55,000 to almost 200,000. What are the challenges today so the town faces?
We face several challenges right now. Firstly, our sewer allocation for new homes is frozen because the region of York several years ago did not properly prepare itself for ongoing development, and now they're fighting with every anti-development person is trying to stop the pipe from coming to Richmond Hill one way or the other, and I don't expect new allocations till at least 2013 right now. And you say, well, why does that have an impact on us? When there's not new money coming in, then things slow down. And we at the same time have a lot of new people and a lot of needs for new people to cover their services so that they're not pressing on the existing services. So we're looking at building a new community center in Oak Ridges, but the money to pay for it, which would be coming from new homes in Oak Ridges, those people aren't necessarily moving in. It's a challenge. And in turn, keeping our taxes frozen is a challenge because we don't have certain revenues that are created from new homes and new people coming in. I personally believe that growth is an ongoing thing that's necessary, that if you freeze things and stagnate them, so too does money stagnate. And therefore, you don't get the same business coming in. It's not as attractive. One of the reasons that Richmond Hill has been attractive for businesses to come here is the fact that we have people, we have workers, and we have this growth and this money that comes through. And so when things stop, there's an issue there. I think that another major issue that we have right now is the lack of rapid transit. The region of New York has gotten some money to build more buses going through, but frankly, a lot of my residents need more than buses. They need trains, they need subways, they need to get to work on time, and they don't want to spend 3 hours getting to or from work. Just a week ago, my 15-year-old went downtown on a Saturday. She came home, she got to Finch subway. It was a half an hour wait for the next Viva bus to come through to get her up to Richmond Hill. The slow not getting through quickly forces people into their cars, and our roads simply can't handle the level of volume and the increase in volume that's taking place without alternatives.
You see, to talk about the challenges, right? Well, can you talk about the diversity in Richmond Hill?
Sure. Diversity in Richmond Hill, the big challenges all come in the area of social services. Frankly, Richmond Hill is a good place to live no matter what ethnic background. I think that if you don't like diversity, you wouldn't want to live in Richmond Hill, because the majority of our residents were not born in Canada. And but what we need in Richmond Hill are social services. What we're lacking is, and social services can best be given not necessarily by groups that only serve one ethnic group, but groups who understand the culture of ethnic groups, the language. Because if I'm speaking to you in English, and you speak Chinese or Farsi or something else as your first language, and I've got family problems, how am I supposed to understand you, and how am I supposed to understand the way you think? So we need more social services in our community that are from the ethnic groups that we're servicing, and the people shouldn't have to go to the farther side of Scarborough or Markham in order to get social services. There should be offices in Richmond Hill as to where they should be going to. And it's a necessity that we support that. Just like with people with developmental disabilities, when I was talking about the fact of setting up a Chinese agency. Well, it's not because people shouldn't assimilate, but if we've got problems and family problems, we've got to be able to understand it. And if somebody's looking at an autistic person and talking to them, they better be able to speak the same language. Otherwise, how can they determine what is the issue? What are the problems? You just simply can't do it. So my long-time experience, I'm on a committee dealing with developmental disabilities of many faith and culture groups. And our purpose is to let people know that there needs to be cultural sensitive organizations to deal with problems in our community. That sure enough, you can have a choice of having a non-denominational group if that's what you choose, but that many people would be better served if people understood their families, understood their backgrounds and their beliefs, because their backgrounds and beliefs can be very different.
Can you talk about the relationship between Richmond Hill with the provincial government or also federal government?
The Richmond Hill is a body that's been set up by the provincial government by Act, and it's done through the Region of York Act. And so the Region of York, where I want to run, is tied into Richmond Hill directly, where they're the senior level of government, and Richmond Hill is in effect the junior level, although many of the services get directly provided to you from Richmond Hill. Waste management, the Region of York is the ones who actually find the place for the garbage to go or the recycling to take place, and we're the ones who pick it up. Water, we deliver the water. The agreements are all set up through with the City of Toronto or Halton or Peel. We do, the Region of York does the negotiating and sets it up. So the province of Ontario, we often will make requests individually, but by and large, the deals usually take place through the Region of York, not through the town of Richmond Hill. Sometimes we get some money given to us from the province. I don't expect in the near future, with the level of deficits that the province is currently undertaking, because they indicated they'd give us money from surpluses, and we're obviously not seeing surpluses right now.
We know that we have three levels of government. According to you, there's a region in between. There's 3.5 layers. Is that right?
Well, in
need that regions. Can you?
Okay. Well, that's been an ongoing. There's an ongoing dilemma. Why we need a region is that we need to be. There's a lot of things that we need to do that we can do better if we do it in a larger context. And whether it's social services and the funding, you can't build little infrastructure to create for everything. You can't have where it's good for providing localized service by having a town or a municipality on a more global context. We need to be able to work with the other municipalities, say with policing, again with rapid transit where more money is required. We need something, whether it would be a regional government or it would be a bunch of commissions like they do in New York. You need something so everybody's talking to each other, and so that we work together and row by the same oar in order to get the services for you that we need. So you can look at the two of them as being the local. The federal government, by the British North American Act and our Constitution, their issues are generally Canada and how Canada relates to the rest of the world. And the provinces, generally speaking, are responsible for how we live in our social security. So education, healthcare, municipalities, we all fall under the provincial side of that. So normally speaking, the federal government, if they give us anything, it's not necessarily their responsibility, though sometimes it should be, because their responsibility for trains, and we need subways, and we need GO trains. So we suddenly need them so that they can help us fund rapid transit. The federal government is responsible for certain highways and have the ability to tax that municipalities don't. So sometimes we get their help that way, but we don't get nearly the help from the federal government. In fact, if anything, the federal government, and it doesn't matter which party, has tended up until very recently to shirk us, to give us virtually nothing. Okay, and that's not they're really shirking us. It's fact is that nothing to take place. It's a real crime that everybody wants to keep on doing buses. They don't want to do subways. So for 35 years in Toronto, one subway extension got built because nobody seemed to take it seriously. And now we're in a situation of massive gridlock where no one can get around, and the cost to create subways is extreme. And again, the City of Toronto is sort of blocking York Region from being able to get a subway continuing up from Finch up to Highway 7, which Richmond Hill badly needs. When that happens, besides from Richmond Hill being the true center where that will take place, will also relieve a lot of people in town of their issues of getting to work, because there's all sorts of other transportation going east-west that will immediately start, because this will be like the Northern Union Station, and it'll be a lot easier for everybody to get around. But it's going a lot slower than I would hope.
So what's the vision or the long-term plan for Richmond Hill by the council?
We're working on our official plan right now. Our plan is to make the community even greener than it already is. We're looking for degrees of intensification so that there can be more medium medium housing, more townhouses by buses on the main routes, which falls in line with the provincial intensification rules. We're looking at bicycle lanes on the streets. We're looking at improving the services we now have. We've done a lot of focus groups with the community, and we're hoping to make Richmond Hill an even better place to live.
Then go back to your personal. So I've been 20-something years in politics. You seem pretty content with your council position. Now you start to think about move up to run for general council. What makes you do that?
I think I can add to the issues we were talking about, whether it's involved with rapid transit, whether it's involved with social services and representing our various communities in social services, involved with representing our community, involved with traffic. I was the chair of the gridlock task force with many of the things, waste management. I've chaired and been involved in all these things, and I believe that I can work effectively at a regional level to provide a voice for people at that level. And you're going to say, well, why have you started now and not in the past? And there's really been a few reasons for that. Firstly, I was working part-time for the federal government, and I didn't feel that I had adequate time to be able to do it before. I think that, secondly, I've kept myself very busy by being involved in the communities and have enjoyed being a Ward 3 councillor. I enjoy being a Ward 3 councillor. I feel I can do as good or if not better job than the representation we're receiving right now, and I believe I can better represent, say for example, the new communities than at least one of my colleagues, and feel that I would help the community by doing so. And then in talking to many people and saying, what would you think if I was a regional councillor? They say, well, that's great. Why don't you do it? You should have done it before. And I say, well, I'm not so old that I can't do it, so why not go for it? So I've decided to run. And the big question with municipal politics, Joseph, is a question that when we have elections, for some reason, the same people come out to vote and the vast majority don't. And it's a problem, because if the same people who come out to vote are not of the same demographic as you, say being Chinese, and so nobody comes out to vote as Chinese, then what ends up happening is that things kind of stagnate and remain the same. And with communities like ours or Markham, where we have communities that are very multicultural, there's a need. Your representative doesn't have to be Chinese, it doesn't have to be of that, but they must be a part, they must be open. They must come out to all the community. They must be welcome to the community. And I think there's a real need now for the Chinese community that represents 25% of our total population to say, you know what, we're going to come out and look to see who represents us and who we should vote for. And don't vote for people because they're Chinese or because they're just like me, just for no reason. But come out and take a look and see who it is and will they represent me, so that the people who are representatives are not in fact blocks to get the things that you need done and to get the social services that you need in our community here, to get things going, to get our rapid transit going, to get traffic moving, to get our health care and everything else in place to make sure our hospital is operating at its maximum efficiency. Because, by the way, York Region's involved with the hospitals. They're involved with your health care, your social services, your traffic, your garbage pickup, your snow removal. It's all at York Region. So is that something that interests you? And should your representative at least want to hear what you have to say? And too much people think, oh, government will do whatever it does. Frankly, we have votes, and often there's disagreement on votes. And often a reason in Richmond Hill that we don't have, like in North York, where the snow gets removed from windrows, is the fact that when I was pushing that many years ago, a majority of my colleagues disagreed with it and didn't want it. Now they want it, but the cost to set it up is so, having not set it up, is so outrageous that we can't do it. And I think you need forward-looking people, people who are open to listen to the public and get involved with the public. I think you need to come out. And this is a country where we have an opportunity to vote. And if you don't, I think you've got the same old, same old.
So I know you're still very young in your political career. So do you really think about like when you will retire?
Actually not. As you know, I've been a Ward 3 councillor for 22 years, and you know the fact that there was no candidate per se or something pressuring me that I had to leave Ward 3 to run for regional council. In fact, it's a lot safer for me in my career. And in the first discussions that I had with my close friends in Grace on, well, should I run for region or should I stay as a Ward 3 councillor, the question that people would ask would be, well, what happens if you lose? And the answer is really that I hadn't really given it some thought. I have to win. That I've been a politician for 22 years. I love doing this work, and I love being involved with the community. So from my perspective, whatever happens, happens. I can win, I can lose, but the truth is I'm more considering staying and being a politician. At some point in time when I retire, I'll likely spend more time as a volunteer with any of the groups that I work for, because at some time I will retire. I think as a senior, when I'm retired, I should still be out as active as one can be retired. I don't really like the idea of, when I'm at home sitting around, actually even now, because I'm going all the time, if I'm just sitting around, I tend to fall asleep, like if I'm not doing anything. I need the activity. I need to be out and doing things, and that's what I'm geared for and enjoy in my life. But retirement will happen at some point in time. Either the public will decide that I'm not the right candidate this time or next time, or at some point I'll retire, but I'm really too young to be contemplating it. And I say that someone will say to me, well, I'm 56 and I'm looking forward to retiring from my job in 7 years or something like that. What I will tell you is that this job is a job that's a passion. This job is not a job that I'm doing just because I need to get a paycheck. We all need to get a paycheck to eat, but I enjoy this job. This is a job that I like doing the things that I like to do. So retirement it's not, well, I'm going to get all that freedom. Well, I don't necessarily know if it's that freedom, because it's not the same.
Last question. 30 seconds. Why do the constituents think that you're the right candidate for regional council? Because
I'm the hardest working politician in Richmond Hill, save maybe the mayor, and I'm out among the people all the time, and by being out and involved and working the way I do, people feel that I best understand what it is that the people are about. And by being a politician as long as I have a lot of experience. Notwithstanding the fact that I wasn't a regional council to now, I know all the same people I still contact the region of York. I still go to the region of York. I know the people and I know how to do the job, so you're not retraining me. In fact, you have the experience of seeing the work that I've done over the last 22 years, and you know the fact that I'm caring it among the people. So the people feel that why are you just award 3 councillor when you can be helping people at a regional level? And the challenge from my perspective is good, that you always have to look for new challenges. Hello, I'm Councillor David Cohen, Ward 3, Town of Richmond Hill, and I wish everybody a happy Chinese New Year. Gung Hei Fa Choi, you should have health, happiness, and prosperity for you and your family in the coming year. I look forward to seeing you.